Yeah, very good morning. So in the last lecture, what we have done is we have defined the concept called expectation of a random variable. So likewise, we have also done with some examples. So let me just give you the definition. So in the of discrete random variable, we have defined the expectation of x by the following summation formula. So where the value of x is get multiplied by its assigned probability, and then take the sum over when you have the discrete case. And when you have the continuous case, we have defined the expectation in the same way that x into fx of x, since fx of x is also in fx of x dx is also regarded as the assigned probability in a very small interval with length dx. Okay, so this is a natural definition for the continuous random variable. What will be the possible expectation? Okay, then we have looked at some examples. Okay, and then we have also defined. So if you have the function of a random variable like x, x square, x cube, a polynomial, or trigonometric function, let's say sine x, or natural logarithm, okay, and so on, exponential function. Okay, so what will be the possible expectation, expected value? So is there any general formula for this? So that we have also given, and we have also verified with some examples that expectation of x square and expectation of x cube can be obtained by just x square multiplied by assigned probability, right? Okay, then you will get the expected value of those. Okay, so we have I think I can just recall. So what we have observed is expectation of x square can be obtained by just putting some, instead of x here, you just replace by x square. Similarly, x cube, for x cube also we have seen that that's also possible, that you have to just replace x by x cube, and then the probability, the same probabilities will be there, dx of x. Okay, so similarly for the case we have also seen for a continuous case as well. Okay, so that will be same integral, instead of x there will be x square x cube. Okay, and what we have observed is so this is also we have also seen that expectation of x cube for the continuous case that was obtained can be obtained as equals to 1/4 by just replacing x by x cube here. Okay, that we have verified from the formula. Okay, right. Now then we have defined an nth moment of x. We also denote this this also known as the moment of x about the origin. Okay, so this is also called, last time also I have mentioned, that moment of x about the origin or zero, you can say. Okay, so nth moment. So when you have x power n, you have nth moment, x power 2, second moment, third moment, fourth moment, and so on. Okay, and which is obtained by the following form. So which can be verified. Okay, so this is equals to this. When you have discrete case, you have this one. When you have this is when you have the continuous case, we have the following formula for this nth moment. Okay, right. So can so the theory is already developed, so we are not going into much detail of the theory, but from the previous examples what we can observe is this exactly fits with it. Okay, so you take any function of a random variable g of x now. So g is any real valued function. Okay, so g is any real valued function which is acting on the random variable x. Okay, so g of x may be x square, x cube, or sine x, and ln of x, and so on. So that can be obtained just instead of x, you just replace by the respective function of x. Okay, so for example, expectation of root square root of random variable x can be obtained by summation. If you have x is a discrete random variable, then you can obtain by just replacing x by square root of x there and assign probability multiplied, and then you take the possible sum. Similarly, for the case of continuous case as well. Okay. So if x is a continuous random variable with PDF fx of x, then expectation of g of x is nothing but this right hand side. Now, the very important property of expectation is linearity. Okay, so expectation of ax plus b is equals to a time expectation of x plus b. Okay, and this essentially tells you, this is one, and from the second I can say expectation of a constant is constant. So there is no expectation, it remain fixed, it remain as it is. Okay, there will not be any change. You cannot, after repetition, how many repetition you do, it will remain the same value. Okay, now this can be verified. The first property can be verified very easily. So you can look at this for the continuous case. I can derive expectation of ax plus b is equals to let integration minus infinity to infinity ax plus b time fx of x dx, and then use the linearity of the integrals. So that's going to be a time integration minus infinity to infinity x time fx of x dx plus b time integration minus infinity to plus infinity fx of x dx. Okay, now the first term is a time expectation of x, and second term is b into, this is a probability density function, so integration over whole real line is going to be equals to 1. Okay, so this is linear in case of continuous random variable. Similarly, you can use the linearity of the summation as well. Okay, so when you put instead of integral summation, so that also you follow the linearity. So then again, you can obtain that a time expectation of x plus b. Now, the second property can be simply obtained by taking a is equals to 0. Take a equals to 0 in above, you will obtain the expectation of b is b. Okay, so this is a very important property. Okay, now what you can observe now is the following. So this can be extended to any further dimension. Okay, so suppose you are having the joint random variable. Okay, so let's discuss the case. So let x and y are, okay, let x and y be let's say any, means like random variables, either discrete or continuous. Okay, so either both discrete or continuous. So let me, okay, so let x and y be random variable, so be let's say discrete random variables. Further, let you have that px comma y of x comma y be joint PMF of x and y. Okay, so then expectation of g of x comma y, so any real valued function, okay, defined on the Cartesian product. Okay, so r square to r now. Okay, so that's equal to summation x on y, summation x and y means you take the over sum over x and sum over y, g of x comma y time px comma y of x comma y. Okay, so this is for the discrete case. Okay, so here I can give you one example. So this tells you this is a two-dimensional version. So similarly, you can the three-dimensional means like three random variable you take and take their joint PMF. So similarly, you can take summation x, summation y, summation z, g of x comma y z, px comma y comma z is x comma y comma z, and so on. Okay, right. So let's say x and y. So let's have this is expectation of from here. That what you can have is expectation of x plus y. You can find out. So xy is defined as this. So summation over x, summation over y. So that's going to be x plus y time p x comma y of x comma y. Now, what you can observe from here is, so see, I can, so what is there is x into pxy x comma y and y into px comma y of x comma y. So right, x plus y. So this is going to be summation x, summation y. So I can write x time px comma y plus y time px comma y. And you know that if you sum up over y, px comma y, if you take sum over y, that will be going to give you the PMF for x. For x, this joint PMF, that will give you the PMF for y. Okay, so by using that fact, that you can show that that's going to be expectation of x plus expectation of y. Okay, so that's going to be see x time px comma y of you have this is going to be summation over y and summation over x. So I can write summation over y px comma y is that density mass function for px for x random variable. Similarly, I can perform here the summation over x, then replace the entity by that quantity by the PMF for y. So this is also known as marginal PMFs. Okay, when we are obtaining the PMF from the joint PMFs, then the respective individual PMF also known as marginal PMF. Okay, right. So expectation of x plus y can be obtained by expectation of x plus expectation of y. Okay, and also I can mention here that similarly, so this you can extend it to any number of random variables. So x1 plus x2. So this above things can be generalized to this. So that can be proven that this is going to be summation I equals to 1 to n expectation of xi. So that also can be proven. Okay. So similarly, as you have done from the previous case. Okay. Right. So let's take one example now. Let's assume that a construction. Let's have a construction firm has recently sent in bids for 3 jobs worth is like in profit 10, 20 and $40,000. Okay. Now, if its probability if its probability of winning the jobs are respectively 0.2, 0.8 and 0.3. Okay, is the firm's expected total profit. A construction firm has recently set in bids for 3 jobs worth in profit only. So 10, 20 and $40,000. So you can identify 3 random variables for 3 individual. Okay. So first job you can say that will either give you $10,000 or 0. Similarly, second variable will give you profit with $20,000 or $0. And similarly for third. So 3 random variables can be defined. Okay. Then we can, so in the jobs means earning the profit with $10,000 with probability 0.2 for that random variable, and then not earning means probability 0.8. So similarly for this as well, and similarly as for this also. So what you can do is, so let xi denotes the firm profit from the job I. Okay, so then, so let's here I is equals to 1, 2, 3, and then it means like x1 is equals to 10 with probability 0.2, 0 with the probability 0, like 0.8, sorry, yes, probability 0.8. Similarly for x2, we'll take the value 20 with the probability is 0.8 for second job, and 0 with probability 0.2. Similarly for x3, so it can take $40,000 with probability 0.3 and 0 with probability 0.7. So now you have all the information associated PMF for each x1, x2 and x3 now. Okay, now we are going to, so we don't need to find here joint PMF, right? x1, x2, x3. So we don't require joint PMF for these cases. Okay, so we can directly, because we are interested only expectation, and we know that expectation of total profit, what will be x1 plus x2 plus x3, that will be the total profit. So that you know, that's going to be summation I equals to 1 to 3 expectation of xi. And now individually you can find expectations now. So expectation of x1 is equals to 10 into with probability 0.2 plus 0 into with probability 0.8. Similarly, expectation of x2 is equals to 20 into 0.8, right? 0.8 plus 0 into 0.2. Expectation of x3 is equals to $40,000 with the probability 0.3 plus 0 with probability 0.7. So expectation of x1 plus x2 plus x3 will be sum up all these. So this is going to be 2, this is going to be 16, this is going to be 12. So total is $30,000 he can expect profit from there. Okay, right. Now let's take one more example here. So let's take second example now. Suppose there are 20 coupons of different type. Assume that each time one coupon or each time one obtains a coupon, and suppose that assume that each time one obtains a coupon assume that each time one obtains a coupon, it is equally likely to be any one of the type. Okay, so each time one obtains a coupon, it is equally likely to be any one of the types. So 20 type coupons, so you can make them in a row C1, C2, C3, C4, and so on C20. Okay, and each one has the equally likely probability like 1 by 20. Okay, right. Compute the expected number of different types are obtained in a set of 10 coupons. So first of all, let's denote the x as a random variable, which denotes the number of different types that are obtained in a set of 10 coupons, that are obtained in a set of 10 coupons. Okay, also let us denote xi, which assumes the values. It is a again told you are indicator random variables that will assume either one value or zero value. Okay, so if this, it will assume the one value if at least one type I coupon is contained in the set of 10, coupons, and zero otherwise. Okay, and zero otherwise. Okay, so there are total 20 different type of coupons. Okay, and from 20 type of coupons, you are going to obtain, you are going to draw coupon each time. Okay, and each time one obtain a coupon, it is equally likely, okay, to be any one of the types. Okay, right. So now, so this I is equal to, there are 20 different types. So this I can be taken value 1, 2, 3, and so on till 20. Okay, right. So this, what is the relation between X and this Xi is X equals to all X1 plus X2, all different type could take place. So that's going to be X1 plus X2 plus and so on X20. Okay, so that will be the relation between X and this Xi, this indicator random variable. Okay, so total 20 different type of coupons are there. So X can take the values from 0 to 20. Okay, so we are interested in finding the expectation of X. Okay, so now for that, so this implies expectation of X is nothing but summation of I is equals to 1 to 20 expectation of Xi. Okay, so now we are interested in finding the expectation of X now individually. Okay, and that is, once you get it for I, it will be for almost similar, means in a similar fashion for other. Okay, right. So what is the expectation of Xi here? I can derive here. So expectation of Xi is equals to 1 into probability that at least one type, or you can write, I can just simply say, instead of writing this stuff, I can write simply Xi is equals to 1. Xi is equals to 1 plus 0 into probability of Xi equals to 0. So that is equals to probability of Xi is equals to 1. Means that should occur. Okay, that the probability that we have already seen in the case of indicator random variable, what will be the possible expectation is nothing but the probability of the occurring of the event A. Okay, so now we are interested in finding if at least one type I coupon is contained in the set of 10 coupons. So that now we can use the axiomatic approach here, or we can say the complement. So I can say that probability of Xi is equals to 1. That's equals to 1 minus probability of no type I coupons are contained. So that's the negation of the probability of Xi is equals to 1. No type I coupons are contained in the set of 10 coupons. Okay, right. So what is this probability? So it means no type I means particular. So I is fixed now. So that I is not coming out of 20. So out means remaining, from remaining one it will come. So it is going to be 19 by 20 into 19 by 20 into and so on. Set of 10 coupons, so 19 by 20, 10 times. So that's going to be 1 minus 19 by 20 to the power 10. Okay, right. So therefore, what is the expectation of X is equals to, so that is the same for every I. So this is true for all I equals to 1 to 20. So that's equal to summation expectation of Xi. I is equals to 1 to 20. So that's equals to 20 times 1 minus 19 by 20 to the power 10. So that will be the final answer. Okay, and that can be further computed. That's going to be 8.025. Means you can round it off till 8, right? 8.025 or 8.03. So 8 different type coupons are contained in a set for 10 coupons if you go in the same way. Okay, right. Now, let's move further now. Suppose we predict that, okay, suppose we predict that x is equals to c is a constant. Okay, x equals to c. We predict that x is equals to c. My prediction means is an approximation. So x is equivalent to c, a constant random variable. Okay, then the squared error, if you calculate, what will be the squared error is equals to x minus c whole square. The original value difference with the approximated value. Okay, and take the square. So this is, you can say that expected, okay, after some number of repetitions. Okay, now if you try to find out what is the expectation of this squared error, okay, so that's going to be is equals to I can now. So soon you will be clear with the motive here, that why we are doing so, to show something here. So let me denote. So I am denoting mu x by expectation of x. So hereafter we will say that's the mean or expected value of x of random variable x. Okay, so let's add and subtract mu. Okay, and then use the a plus b whole square now. Okay, now this is equals to expectation of now x minus mu x whole square plus mu x minus c whole square plus 2 times mu x minus c times x minus mu x, right? A plus b whole square. So we are using that fact. Similar. Now we will use of linearity now for the expected value. So what is for this? So this implies expectation of x minus c whole square is equals to, so I'm using the linearity now, that's going to be x minus mu x whole square plus the next is expectation of mu x minus c whole square, but that is constant. So you know that constant expected value is constant only. So plus mu x minus c whole square plus, now this is 2 times mu x minus c is constant. So plus 2 times mu x minus c times expectation of x minus mu x. Okay, right. So now this is further, I'm saying that this is going to be equals to x minus mu x whole square plus mu x minus c whole square. This quantity will be 0. So this quantity will be 0 because expectation of x minus mu x, if you try to see what is expectation of x minus mu x is equals to expectation of x minus expectation of mu x. Now expectation of x is mu x minus expectation of x is also mu x, because mu x is a constant now, so that's going to be 0. So that the third term will not contribute much here. Okay, right. So now is here is the both of them. So this is the non-negative quantity. Okay, and this is also non-negative quantity, right? Because expectation of x minus mu x whole square, if you write in the case of discrete case, it's nothing but x minus mu x whole square times px of x. Now both in the each term, both are the in the product are non-negative terms, so they all are non-negative, so sum is also non-negative. Okay, so this also non-negative, this also non-negative. Okay, now what more observation here is we have that's going to be greater than equal to expectation of x minus mu x whole square, right? Because this is a second term is also a positive term. Okay, so this will be greater than equals to expectation of x minus mu x. So what this tell you is, what does this tell you is, this implies you have the following conclusion: x minus c expectation whole square is greater than equal to expectation of x minus mu x whole square. Okay, so what it tells you is the best predictor of a random variable x, okay, in terms of minimizing its mean square error is just its mean. Okay, so this will be, so you take any other predicted value, that will always be greater than equals to this. Okay, so this will be the mean squared error or minimized mean squared error, you can say. Okay, right. So what it will give you the idea that you are going to look x around its mean. When you try to observe the x, you will look around its mean. So earlier, what we were in nth moment, we were looking around about the point 0. Okay, now here we will look about the point mu x now. Okay, so that will be valid if you have the mean is 0. Okay, but here mean is may or may not be 0. Okay, right. Okay, now the following things I want to mention now. Now let's say given a random variable x and its CDF fx of x, then what we wish to determine is, so we want to, the number one thing is, so we wish to derive the essential properties of the mass or density function. Now what is that mean is, we want to define some measures through which we can actually talk about the random variable x. Okay, or we want to acquire more knowledge about the random variable x, means how this random variable x is distributed. Okay, how much variation is there, how much spread is there, and so on. Okay, so among that, one such measure is expectation. Okay, so first measure what we have seen is expectation of x, the expectation of the random variable. Okay, but it does not tell us about the anything about the variation or spread of the values of x. For example, if you take, let's take examples now. So I am just taking one example is, let's say one random variable is a constant. So let's denote it by w. Okay, and w is equals to 0 with probability, let's say 1. So it's a constant random variable, so it takes the value 0 with probability 1. Okay, let's take another random variable which we denote, let's say this is denoted by w1. Another is, let's say w2, which takes the values -1 with probability 1/2. and 1 with probability 1 by 2. Let's take one more example, third, then we will conclude W3. So one value is, let's say, minus 100 with probability 1 by 2, and another value is 100 with probability 1 by 2. So if you look at the similarity between these W1, W2, W3, all these three random variables, what you can see is you can take any expected value of any random variable Wi. That's going to be 0 for every case. But what you can observe between these two, let's say W1 and W2, what you have observed is much greater spread in values of W2 than it's in those of W1. Okay, so there is no spread at all in W1. Okay, but W2 has the -1 and 1. Okay, 1 is far from -1, right? Not only that, you can also compare this W2 and W3, the spread between the values. So there you can observe that there is a much greater spread in values of W3 than in values of W2. But all of the has the expected value is 0. So expected value does not talk about the spread of spread between values of the random variables and so on. Okay, so now, as we have already seen that the mean squared error is minimized around about the mean. Okay, if you try to get the about the mean, that's going to be minimized. Okay, so therefore what we will look is, that will give you an idea that we are going to look the values around its mean, means expectation of x. Okay, so what it suggests is that you have, means you are going to look at how far apart x would be from its mean on the average. Okay, means you are going to look at this difference, x minus mu x. So how far apart means certainly one of the measure is what is the expectation of this mod of x minus mu x. So mod is denoting is the absolute value. Okay, mod denotes the absolute value, where I already noted give you the notation that mu x is expectation of the random variable x. So that is a one way, but the mathematically it is inconvenient to deal with. Okay, so there are so many challenges with this because of this magnitude here. Okay, so what is the substitute here, or you can say it what is the another tractable quantity is nothing but is going to be, you take this x minus mu x whole square, the mean squared error itself. Okay, that can be help us to find to decide what will be the possible spread about the mean. Okay, and this quantity is called as variation of x, that random variable variation of x. Okay, so this is the definition of variance of a random variable x. Now you can simplify it more by taking by opening this square term. So if I write down this variance of x is equals to expectation of x minus mu x whole square. So that's going to be expectation of x square minus mu x whole square minus 2 times mu x times x, a minus b whole square. So that's going to be, now use the linearity now. So use the linearity. So x going to be expectation of x square. Now negative sign will be as negative, and expectation of mu x square is mu x square since it is constant. And from here expectation of minus is minus out 2 mu x times x. So 2 mu x is still constant. So again the linearity. So 2 mu x times expectation of x. So now since expectation of x is nothing but mu x, so that's going to be expectation of x square minus mu x square minus 2 mu x square sorry, this is going to be plus here. So that's going to be expectation of x square minus mu x whole square. So that's going to be mu x mu minus mu x square. Okay, so what you can observe from here, so mathematically is variance of x you can define in two ways. One is expectation of x minus mu x whole square, and that is further equals to expectation of x square minus expectation of x whole square, and also it's always non-negative. Okay, it's also always non-negative. Okay, now so this is in terms of expectation only, so it also satisfies some of the properties, means like means it's not you may assume that this also satisfies the linearity and so on, but that is not true. Okay, so what is the first thing you can verify the property here is so first property is variance of ax plus p is equals to a square time variance of x. So it is not linear at all. You can't write a time variance of x plus variance of b. Second property is variance of a constant is 0. Okay, so there is no variance in the constant. Constant remain fixed. It will not vary, right? So there is no variation. Variation is 0. Okay. Third important thing is variance of x plus x. I'm just writing here, not equals to 2 time variance of x. So it will not follow the summation rule, right? Means like which has expected, means this expectation is following. Okay, right? Expectation of x plus x is 2 time expectation of x, but it is not the same as here. Okay, right. So now, if I prove this first property, rest of the you can establish yourself. So I'm just going with variance of ax plus b, this new random variable. That's going to be expectation of, I'm just using, okay, any one of them. Okay, so that's going to be, let's say, x minus mu x, right? So that's going to be ax plus b minus, what is the expectation of this is a time mu x minus b whole square. So that is the expectation of, so since I'm just writing now expectation of ax plus b is equals to a time expectation of x, that is mu x plus b. So this is the expectation of this. So expectation of random variable minus its mean square. So that is what is happening. Now this b will get cancelled. Okay. Now a is there, so that's going to be expectation of now a time x minus a time mu x, and that's whole square. So that's a square time x minus mu x whole square. Now that's equals to a square time expectation of x minus mu x whole square, and that's equals to a square time variance of x. Okay. Second property also can be satisfied by knowing that expectation of a constant random variable is constant itself. Okay. And third property is very straightforward, because variance of x plus x is equals to variance of 2x. And now you take a is equals to 2 and b equals to 0 in the first. That's going to be 2 square time variance of x. So that's equals to 4 time variance of x. So that's not equals to 2 time variance of x. Okay, right. Okay, so let's do some examples. Let's say one of the example is, let's say, let x represents the outcome when we roll a fair dice. Okay, let X represents the outcome when we roll a fair die. So X can take value, certainly that omega sample space, you can take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And assume that all of them are, and let probability of X equals to the outcome. So X will also take the same values. Okay, so X equals to 1 or X equals to I is equals to 1 by 6 for all I. Okay, so now from here I can find out. So I am interested in finding variance of X. So now you can use that fact that variance of X is equals to expectation of X square minus expectation of X whole square. Okay, right. So now first we will find out what is the expectation of X. So that's going to be summation X times Px of X. So that's going to be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 divided by 6. So that's going to be 7 by 2. Okay, so expectation of this X random. Now what about expectation of X square? So that's going to be 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square plus 4 square plus 5 square plus 6 square. You can just verify it. Okay, divide by 6. Since it is summation X square times Px of X is 1 by 6. So summation X square. Okay, so each square. Now this is equals to, so 6 into 6 plus 1 into this is going to be 13. This is divide by 6, right? Into 6. So 1 6 get cancelled. So that's going to be 91 by 6. Now this implies, so we have found both the things. So so variance of X is equals to expectation of X square, that is 91 by 6, minus expectation of X whole square, so that is 49 by 4. Okay, now you take the LCM as 12. Okay, and this is 147, so that's going to be 35 by 12. So this is going to be the variance of the given random variable. Okay, right. So now what about the variance of the red indicator random variable is, so if you have let I be an indicator random variable such that I is equals to 1 if event A occurs and 0 if event A does not occur. Okay, now so from here what you can do is I square. What is the I square? Is 1 again, right? It will take value 1 if event A occurs and 0 if event A does not occur. Does not occur. Does not occur. So you can certainly find out what is expectation of I square is probability of A, and what is expectation of I, both are the same thing, probability of A. So variance of I is equals to probability of A. So expectation of I square minus expectation of I whole square. So that is probability of A whole square. So that's going to be probability of A times 1 minus probability of A. Okay, right. So this we have defined now variance of the random variable x, and since we have also observed that variance of x plus x is not equals to 2 times variance of x. So what it gives us intuition is to define the variance for variance of sum of two random variables. So you can define the variance of sum of two random variables and so on. So before doing that, what we can do is we can certainly look at what will be the correlation or how this x and y. So if you have been given with the two random variables x and y, so let x and y be two random variables. So either both discrete or both continuous we are talking about. Okay, so how they are related to each other, okay, means how they behave when you in terms of values. So if x increase, whether y will also increase in the same fashion, increasing the value of x, whether it is also affect the values in y as well. Okay, or if x is decreasing, y is also decreased, or x is increased, y is decreased, and so on. So what are the possibilities? So for doing the getting that nature, so another definition is coming here, which is known as the covariance of two random variables x and y. Okay, so which is denoted by, so let x and y be two random variables, then the covariance. So instead of variance between two random variables, we are between two distinct random variables, we are trying to say. See, so that is why it is called covariance. If you talking about in the values of x only, that is called as variance among the values of x. Okay, so the covariance of x and y will be defined as, so covariance of x comma y, how they are related is like they're going to be defined by expectation of x minus mu x into y minus mu y. So it certainly gives you when you have y equals to x. So certainly for y equals to x, covariance of x comma y or x comma s, x is nothing but the variance of x only. Moreover, another property is if you take covariance between x and y, or you take y and x, both are the same thing. Okay, means that behaves like a symmetric. If x is related to y, y is also related to x in the same fashion. Okay, right. So the here from above, what is the observation is expectation. Covariance of covariance of x comma y is equals to covariance of y comma x. That's another observation. Okay, now also you can write in the more simple form. So I'm just deriving it mathematically like we have done for the case variance of x. So that's going to be expectation of x minus mu x into y minus mu y. Now that is equal to expectation of, now you take the x minus a into x minus b or y minus b formula product. Okay, so x into y minus mu x y minus mu y x plus mu x times mu y Now use that linearity. That's going to be expectation of x into y. Now mu x is constant, so expectation of y is mu y. Okay. The third term minus mu y time expectation of x, that is mu x, plus now mu x into mu y. So that's also a constant, so mu x into mu y. So one of the mu x into mu y will get cancelled. So what you will observe is expectation of x into y minus expectation of x into expectation of y. Okay, so this is same as, right, when you replace y by x, it is same as expectation of x square minus expectation of x whole square. Okay, so now you can further define some or more other attached properties with it. Okay. Okay, fine. I think we can end here now.